read this one out loud.
Okay. If the proposed tax reduction package is adopted this year, the library will be forced to discontinue its daily story hours for children. But if the daily story hours are discontinued, many parents will be greatly inconvenienced. So the proposed tax reduction package will not be adopted this year. Which one of the following, if assumed, allows the argument's conclusion to be properly drawn? So that question type is the one I have like most problems when it's like um allows the argument's conclusion to be properly drawn or
Okay.
logically assumed.
Yep. So it's sufficient assumption, right?
Yes.
So what do we need to do first?
Find the conclusion.
Yes. So what is our conclusion?
So if the daily story hours are discontinued, many parents will be greatly inconvenienced.
That
Hmm.
actually is not our main conclusion. What does that support? What do we use this part of the sentence to support?
To support that the reduction package will not be adopted.
Excellent. So that's our conclusion.
Okay.
Is this a valid conclusion?
Yes.
Okay, so this is what makes sufficient assumption questions so hard is typically if we don't read them critically, they do sound like they potentially could be valid, but there's actually an unsaid premise here that is required for this to be valid. And so once we see that it's a sufficient assumption question, if we didn't pick up on the flaw originally, once you see it's a sufficient assumption question, we know that there's a flaw there somewhere and there's something missing. And so we're saying, hey, if the proposed tax reduction package is adopted this year, so if we get the package, because if introduces sufficient, right? So if the tax package is adopted, then the library will be forced to discontinue its daily story hours for children. So no more daily story hours. But if the daily story hours are discontinued, many parents will be greatly inconvenienced. So if that happens, parents are going to be inconvenienced, right? So we're trying to say that the proposed tax reduction package will not be adopted this year. Do we have anywhere in our stimulus that supports that the package is not going to be adopted?
No.
No. So what we need to do is we need to bring in an answer choice that will guarantee that this will happen. And so we need to connect our premise to our conclusion in some way. So one way I could do it is nothing will happen that, so I'm going to give you an example, then I'm going to have you come up with a different one. But mine's going to say, we will adopt nothing this year that would discontinue story hour. If we brought that in, would that guarantee that the tax reduction package would not be adopted?
No.
Yeah, no, if we brought in that I said that nothing this year will discontinue story hour. So that means that we'll have story hour, right?
Okay.
So if we have daily story hour, what happens to the TA, the tax reduction?
So it's negative.
Yeah, so it doesn't get adopted, right?
Yeah.
So what else could you predict here that would guarantee that we don't have the TA? What could you say about
They propose another tax package.
nope, what could you say about the parents being inconvenienced? What would make it so that we don't have the TA? All right, I'm gonna let you go ahead and read through these answer choices, and I think it might trigger it for you.
Okay.
So start with A and tell me if you like it, leave it, or hate it.
Any tax reduction package that will not force the library to discontinue daily story hours will be adopted this year. Like it.
All right, let's go on.
Every tax reduction package that would force the library to discontinue daily story hours would greatly inconvenience parents. So don't like it.
Yeah, because our goal is to say that this in particular tax reduction package is not going to happen. Where B is saying everyone, like it's just telling us like, hey, every tax reduction package would discontinue daily story hours and greatly inconvenience parents. That does nothing to tell us that this one isn't going to happen. So it's not
Yeah.
B. Okay.
No tax reduction package that would greatly inconvenience parents would fail to force the library to discontinue daily story hours. No, don't like it.
Yeah, that goes against our premises, right? Right? Go
And
on.
then no tax reduction package that would greatly inconvenience parents will be adopted this year. So I like it. And then any tax reduction package that will not greatly inconvenience parents will be adopted this year. So I don't like E.
You don't like E or you do?
No,
Why not?
because of I feel like it's flipped, but I may be
Yes,
mistaken.
you are. Like it's this what this one is telling us is I lost you for a second. This one is telling us that any tax reduction parent that will not greatly inconvenience parents, do we care about any tax reduction package that will
No,
not? No, because the one that we're talking about does inconvenience parents. So it can't be E. All right, so you're between A and D. So remember, our goal of this question is to guarantee this conclusion. So we're trying to prove or make rock solid that the proposed tax reduction package will not be adopted this year. So if we added A or D in, which one would guarantee that?
okay, so any tax reduction package that would not force the library to continue. So I would say D.
Yeah, why is it D? Or why does
Okay,
D work?
so I feel like A doesn't work because of the any tax
Yeah,
reduction package.
because it's saying any tax reduction package that will not force the library to discontinue hours will be adopted this year. Well, does the tax reduction package that we're talking about force the library to discontinue story hours?
No.
Well, ours does up here, right? It says that if the proposed tax reduction package is adopted, the library will be forced to discontinue these hours, right?
Yeah.
So this is just saying anyone that does not cause this will be adopted. Well, that's not
Yeah.
relevant to us. That's not the tax, that can't be the tax package that we're talking about. And it says they will be adopted this year. We're talking about something not, we want to prove that something will not be adopted this year.
Yeah.
All right, so why does D work?
So it works because it's saying no tax reduction package and then will be adopted this year.
Okay, so no tax reduction package that would greatly inconvenience parents will be adopted this year. So if we do not greatly, so let's say greatly, so if we do not inconvenience parents, What does that mean in our little diagram up here? What happens?
So the daily story hours are continuing.
Yep, and then what else happens?
It's not adopted
It's not
and
adopted. Yeah, do you see that? The TA doesn't happen.
yes.
And that's what we're trying to prove. So you connected one of our premises. So I'll highlight it in yellow. You connected this premise with the conclusion.
Oh, I see it.
Yeah, so that's why B is correct, because you said, yeah. And so you made it relevant.
Yeah.
That's why you got that one correct. Excellent.